Oh. All right, Kings Court playoff preview. We are here, boys. I know you boys are excited way more than me. I suck. I missed playoffs, but welcome, Dumont, the co-host, and Joka. Pleasure to finally have you aboard, my friend.
Hey, it's good to be here. I know you asked me, I think probably halfway through the season, and I couldn't make it. You replaced me with somebody else, and you know what? They did a much better job than I could, so I hope I can even hold the reins just a little bit.
All right, Dumont. Just sneaking into the playoffs, my friend. How do you feel? Welcome.
It was never a doubt. I'm here to stay. I'm in 8th place. I'm about to pull off the biggest upset of all time. I'm excited to be here. We had some bums chirping yesterday. I want to shout them out. There's some bums that we're not going to talk about today chirping in the chat. So shout out to them. Enjoy your off season. I'm focused on week 1.
All right. I love it. Boys, we're gonna get right into it. We're here to discuss the playoff preview. I will now be sharing my screen over here, and this is what it's all about, boys. The fantasy playoffs. We got the 1 seed Ricky against the 8 in Dumont. Then we got Matty Daddy, Matt Dispenza against Dylan, which is personally my favorite matchup of week 1 of the playoffs. That's going to be a brutal fight right there.
Yeah,
boys.
I think that's. I mean, we'll talk about it, but I know that's probably the toughest matchup for this first round that I've seen.
Absolutely. We got Vinny against Jordan, and lastly, Joka against Diego. So fireworks all around. But we're gonna start with matchup number 1, Ricky and
matchup
Travis.
Everybody's talking about.
Oh, do tell. Why do you say that? Is it because you're in it, Dumont?
Not at all. Not at all. Everybody's saying that this is most likely going to be the upset of the century. I'm not saying it. People are saying it. It's what I'm hearing on the streets. I'm hearing 100 projection is far too low, and I think Riot East is he's due for a loss. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, if there's going to be any week where there's going to be a huge upset for Ricky, I mean, it could potentially be this one. Look at all those injuries he has in his lineup. Who knows how many of those actual skill players are going to be out, if they're going to be playing. As for Ricky's team, clearly it was dominant the entire year. I mean, he took 2 L's on the entire season.
The last 2 weeks, too.
Yeah.
It's coming.
If there was ever going to be a slide, this is the worst time for it to happen on the course of like Ricky's team, so that's what I can speak on Ricky's for the time being. Yeah. But I mean, if there's ever going to be an upset for the 1 seed, it's going to be in a situation like this.
Yeah. I'm not seeing it.
I need CJ Stroud. That's a tough break. I don't think he's going to play. I feel like they're going to play it safe. I need CJ Stroud. But my running backs are coming alive. T. Pollard is coming alive. James Cook, the offense is running through him lately. So the running backs are good. Gabe Davis, I need a boom week. Can't have a bust week. I got to have a boom week.
Biggest boomer bust guy in fantasy this season.
It could. The matchup could ride on him. I need a boom week. I'm fingers crossed. I'm praying for it. I don't like Jordan Addison's quarterback situation. That's sketchy. I like where I'm at with Trey McBride. If my guys boom, I'm right there. I got a chance.
Yeah, right. It's definitely a boomer bust situation. Dumont, this is me being honest. We had a lot of good trades this season. We went back and forth. We were always chatting.
Good business.
Yeah, you're all about business. I'm all about business.
Yep.
The playoffs are really where it counts about business. I really think you stole a playoff spot. I think there are 3 teams below you that scored more. They took on more points against them. Your biggest bright spots come to second string wide receivers, not to mention a few third string wide receivers. You have 2 great running backs. They've both been coming alive the last few weeks. McBride has looked good. On top of that, I got to be honest, I haven't seen someone steal a position like this since the 2020 election, and seeing you guys tweet about it after that. I don't know, how you're going to match up against Ricky. I think Ricky's probably going to have the victory in this one. You have a young team. I think you're built for the future. It's great that you made the playoffs, but I think the next 2 years are going to be really telling for you. I can't see you beating Ricky on this one.
A couple things. You can't steal a playoff spot. You can't do it. You are what your record is.
Sure you can.
No, you can't. No, you can't. You are what your record is. You can't steal a playoff spot. And I like that you mentioned that I'm young and I'm also built for the future. I'm making the playoffs and I'm built for the future. There was a bum in the chat yesterday that was talking, saying making playoffs is the only thing. It's only going to hold me back. How do you figure? I don't even have my first round pick. I built for the future. I still made the playoffs. I still have 2 first round picks next year. What are we talking about?
I want to know who this bum is.
Now and
It's
later.
tough. It's tough to see Minshew in that starting spot right now. I
That's
gotta
where
be honest with you.
Brian, this is the most glaring, like, offset freaking positional rank I think I've ever seen. Josh Allen versus Gardner Minshew in the playoffs. Dumont, for that
Josh
reason
Allen,
alone, you're dead. You're
that
dead.
offense runs through James Cook, Hugo. I'm not seeing Josh Allen putting up big numbers. That offense is going to run through James Cook. Everybody sees it. Everybody knows what's going on. So I'm not seeing Josh Allen putting up big numbers this week.
The easiest bet in sports right now is Josh Allen to throw an interception. It's happened in 9 straight games.
Mhm.
Easiest bet in sports.
Oh, 100%.
I'm sure that's gonna miss this week, but
Yeah, I've seen posters. They call him Josh Allen.
oh,
INT at the end.
I like that.
Me
I
too.
do.
It rolls off the tongue. It really
It does. Yeah, I mean, if I'm picking again, it's a lot of you'd have to have every position boom on this week. Dumont.
Everything
Again,
happened,
like I
especially
said,
Addison. I could see
great
McBride
young
doing
team. I don't own any stocks in Gabe Davis. I'm not a Gabe Davis guy, especially against Dallas. You got a great defense over there. I think the rest of that team, yeah, like I said, 2 to 3 years, I think you're going to be the dominant team in fantasy. I don't know if it's your year, especially in round 1 versus Ricky's team. Even if he's missing a couple pieces, I don't know if your team can knock him off.
I gotta say that the Cowboys defense is most likely going to try to shut down Stephon Diggs. Could be a Gabe Davis week.
All right. Well, we'll see. Tyreek Hill, obviously, a huge question, but Joker, I think we outvote Dumont 2-1 here, and we see Ricky moving on.
That's what I would say for this one. Sorry, Dumont.
Sorry, Dumont.
We'll
We had to
continue
tell it to
talks
your
in the
face,
offseason, though.
I really like Hugo being against me. It's it bodes well for me.
Oh, it's a little fuel for the fire.
Thank you.
All right. We'll move on to the next matchup we got here on the list. Matty Daddy against Dylan. Boys, bring your lunch pail and hard hat to work this weekend. This is going to be a fight right here. 2 very good teams. Dumont, we had Matty Daddy and Brian. You were part of the consensus in the preseason.
Yep.
This was our number 1 team right here. And he finished
People
strong.
didn't know that. Now they know. I was the secret voter on those rankings that we had on the initial thing of the podcast. So now people know I was involved with those votes. So I was the secret third.
Hell yeah. He was the neutral party for sure.
That's right.
And we have Dylan over here as well, who just has a great team. But boys, let's talk about this. Dak Prescott versus Jalen Hurts again this week here in fantasy. I have a preference. I know who I am going to decide it this week on this matchup. I want to hear from you boys. Let's start going down the list here as you see me scrolling. Brian, what do you got to say about this one?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely took some time. I was prepping for the podcast earlier. I was high on Matt Dispenza's team for the majority of the year. At the start of the year, I think he got a really rough start. His team really started heating up. You're seeing Bijan get involved more. One big stat that I find that's very important for Dylan's team, he has 0 wins against fantasy teams in our league in the last 6 weeks that have a winning record. So that is winning record teams with 0 wins in the last 6 weeks. His team's been kind of limping down to the finish line here. However, he does have a 176-point scoring week, which happened a few weeks ago. Again, it's more of a boomer bust type team. I'm feeling like there's definitely some question marks. You've got, you got Aaron Jones, T. Higgins sitting there in your flex spots, 2 huge question marks. Are we going to get a healthy Aaron Jones? Or are we going to get an Aaron Jones that can, barely walk up and down the field? And is T. Higgins going to stay in a game for more than 2 quarters? If I personally have to pick, I mean, I'm going Dispenza. He's been my guy all the way through. In the last 4 out of 5 weeks, he scored 131 plus points. Which is pretty telling for me. If you're scoring up over his team's very hot. 134 out of the last 5 weeks. That's a good way to go into the playoffs. So I would definitely go to Spencer here in week 1.
Talk to me, Dumont.
I agree. Joker's got the numbers. I got the vibes. The vibe, I think, is going to be Matty Daddy. His team is getting hot at the right time. Dak Prescott's a beast. MVP favorite, in my opinion. Unless Jalen Hurts gets his ass pushed in the end zone 3 times, I think Dak Prescott's doing that matchup. And he's getting hot. Bijan, like you mentioned, Bijan's getting a lot of touches. Debo's coming around, and Cooper Kupp looks like himself again. So
Rashad White is one of the top 6 running backs in fantasy.
I was going to say
getting
one of
hot
the biggest,
at the right time. That's
one of the biggest sleepers of the year. Rashad White. He came in and he outperformed what everybody thought.
Quiet, very quiet.
Very quiet.
The whole team is healthy at the right time. Cooper Kupp looked like himself last week. He's getting hot at the right time. I think it's gonna be. And I need Deaches to lose. I got his first round pick. So.
Yeah. All right. That's a little why I'm swinging. I'm taking Dylan. I'm taking Dylan here. I love this team. I think he has the players that he could perform every single week. And right now, we're talking about hot players. Kyron Williams is a meteoric fireball right now with the
True.
amount of touches that he's getting every single game.
And it's not just on running plays either. He's being involved on the passing down plays too, which is obviously a big thing in a league where we get points for the first downs. That is pretty big. I'm excited to see this matchup. I hope Dylan's team performs like that 176 point team.
Debo, I mean.
Yeah, I hope we have a 150 to 150 score in this round. I hope it's tight all the way down. I'm glad I'm not involved in this matchup for week 1. That's all I have to say. But again, I'm going to give the slight edge to Matt Dispenza on this one.
Yep,
great tight end matchup too. Even with Matty Dad, if he gets that stack with Dak and Jake Ferguson, that could be a big deal.
Yeah, that's why I love Dylan. He's got the Hurts and AJ Brown. Like, what's not to love?
They're broken, Hugo. The Eagles are broken.
Yeah, Eagles are going to be just fine. But I think the difference here, Cooper Kupp has to show up. He finally came out last week. Had a good week. But I think between these two flex spots and Matt having James Conner and Jerome Ford versus Higgins and Aaron Jones has to play, first of all, let alone have a good game. But this is where the matchup is going to get decided. 2 running backs against a running back and a receiver. This is where the matchup for me is going to get decided.
Yep. Great quarterback matchup too. I mean, it's just, I know we mentioned it at the top of this matchup, but that could be fireworks between the two of them going against those two defenses.
Would be a real shame if Matt Dispenza lost and I got a better draft pick out of it. Would be a real shame.
Hugo, when are we getting your matchup? Are you next?
All right. Speaking of next matchup, great transition there, Dumont. We're going to move on to Vinny and Jordan. This, to me, boys, I have zero idea what to expect. Any one of these two can win it. I have no idea what to say, so I'll let you guys start. Who wants to get it going?
Yeah, Dumont, you want to kick this one off?
Yeah, I do. I think Vinny's team is a bit overrated. I think I said that on the last podcast, if I'm not mistaken, Hugo. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
I think you said it as well.
I think I did, yeah. And the running backs, I don't like Zach Moss. I think he's probably not going to get as much touches as he should this week. Breece Hall, not a big fan of Jets running backs either. I also think I said on the last podcast. I think the running backs are going to hurt him. Montgomery's still a beast. I don't see Vinny coming out of this matchup at all.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan's got some players that are playing hot at the right moment. Brock Purdy's freaking on fire right now, too.
Too many weapons, too many points to be scored, again, especially against Arizona. He's probably going to put up a big number. Saquon's good burst. DJ Moore's going off. He's looking good with Fields being back. So I think this one could be a blowout.
Yeah, I mean, we're dealing literally. So I'm apparently I'm the stats guy. I was looking at the last few, usually like 5 to 6 weeks worth of matchups that we've got going on, and out of all of the playoff teams that are left, these are definitely the most inconsistent of what we're seeing for each one. I mean, we're seeing Vinny's team that was scoring down in the 80s and 90s, all the way up to the 140s and 130s. We've got Jordan's team that was all the way down in the 50s a few weeks ago. I know we saw those multiple paragraphs in the general chat talking the meltdown, talking about all of his fantasy teams falling apart. Jordan, I feel you, bud. I feel you. We got it. I really don't know who I'm going to pick with this one. I feel like Vinny's team has kind of come alive the last few weeks. Again, I think this is the second most intriguing matchup to me because I just don't know what's going to happen. But if I have to edge it out, I'm probably going to go Jordan's team. I just like the overall up and down of that starting lineup with what we're seeing right now. I think if Amon-Ra St. Brown and Laporta light it up like they have been, the biggest question mark too, Nico Collins, he left early in that game last week.
Yeah, he's hurt.
If Stroud doesn't play, what are we going to see?
Madison too.
Yeah.
Madison's missing. And Godwin versus Madison is definitely going to be a hell of a matchup between these two that I don't think either one shows up really. I personally do have Jordan coming out of this matchup here. I think if his guys have great days, it's easier for his team to have a great day than it is for Vinny's. And he's just got Travis Kelce, I think, is going to be the difference in this matchup because he's been quiet lately and he's got to show up.
I think the Pats will shut him down, though. That's Bill's thing. Take away the best playmaker. They don't have any other receivers. He could get taken away. So that'll give Vinny a chance, but I don't think he has enough firepower. I really don't.
No.
Love Laporta, though.
Yeah. And especially look how DJ Moore's been playing the last like 3 to 4 weeks too. I mean, he's dropping almost 20 points a week, at least by our scoring standards. And I don't know. I would hate to call it an upset because these two they're so up and down. And even if Travis Kelce, I know he's still the number 1 tight end in fantasy, he's not throwing out those classic Travis Kelce numbers that we're used to seeing either. So maybe he needs another trip down to Argentina and he'll figure it out.
We'll see. And I think I just can't trust a team that starts 2 tight ends.
It just looks bad. And
it looks bad, right?
It doesn't look right. It looks like you're struggling. You got to do that.
I didn't even notice Engerman there when I was looking earlier.
Scroll down, Hugo. Let me see his bench. Scroll down a little bit.
All right. Let's get to the bench, what he can be using.
Not
a lot.
Not much. Judy, I guess. Christian Watts if he plays, but you never know. He's injury prone. Yeah, it's probably the right play.
Yeah, definitely the right play. I agree with it for sure. But
yeah, again, it's another tough matchup, but I got to edge Jordan out on that one just because Saquon's also heating up a little bit too. Purdy's just been consistent the whole year, so that's the way I would lean.
Joker, you a T-Swift guy?
You know, I can't label myself a Swiftie, but if Blank Space comes on, I'm going to have a hard time keeping my shirt and pants on. That's all I have to say. That song gets me rocking.
Agreed.
I love it. I'm huge Swiftie over here. All right. So that's these guys. I think we all took Jordan in that one. And lastly, Joka against Diego. Before I let you get going here, I think we're all taking Joka in the end. I think we're all going to take Joka. Joka, your team's definitely better than Diego's. And this is from a source close to Diego, AKA the other side of this wall. Diego says he has you right where he wants you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll kick us off with this matchup. I think Diego very clearly, his team changed when Kamara came back, and I think that's definitely something to be worried about. I mean, Eckler hasn't been performing on my team like I thought he was going to throughout the entire course of the year. He's been battling some injuries. Breaking news, I don't know if you guys saw earlier, Keenan Allen is out for this Thursday. That's a huge loss for me. That's the 3rd ranked wide receiver. Is Jefferson going to be able to stay healthy? You know, luckily Devonta Smith has looked really good over the course of the last 4 to 5 weeks overall. Dallas Goedert hasn't really looked like himself. I've definitely got some question marks. If there's ever going to be a time where my team was going to get upset, I'll be honest, I was surprised that I snuck out the 2 seed on the season. I thought for sure I was going to slide down a few spots. I got lucky with a few breaks. I think Vinny and I had a matchup where we both scored in the 90s and I beat him by 3 points. If there's going to be a week that it's going to happen, it's going to be this one. Like I said, I think Diego is has one of the weaker teams in the playoffs right now. He's going to definitely be hinging on Kamara, and Joku's looked pretty good. Derrick Henry's starting to heat up.
Joku's been insane lately getting targeted.
Yeah. And the big thing for me, the scariest thing for me of this entire matchup is wintertime. Derrick Henry is here and he's running through fucking everybody. He's I don't care how many yards he gets. He's going for at least a touchdown a game. Nobody wants to get hit in the cold like that. I don't know where he's playing this week. Oh, he's playing in Houston. It looks like it's at home. I don't know. It's going to be, I still give myself the edge, but I'll be honest, I don't feel comfortable about it. I really don't. Maybe it's just because I'm in the thick of it. If there's going to be any week that I lose, I mean, it could potentially be this one. I honestly think, I think Diego has the edge on me by running backs for sure.
Yes.
Between Etienne and Eckler, but with how they've been performing, but I'll give myself the edge of it solely based on how can we trust Cool Joe to stay hot in how can we trust him to keep it going there in Cleveland? But either they're going to have Flacco tossing 40 attempts in the game, or they're going to have Jerome Ford running for 25 plus. So I don't know what we're going to see from that play in Chicago.
I'm having a tough time getting past the Joe Flacco in a Jets jersey with the Browns logo next to him. It's just gross. I just can't get past. And I think that's the most glaring difference in the matchups. Who knows what he's going to do? I mean, he's 40 years old. Who knows? The running back matchup, I think, is going to be interesting. Kamara's still getting touches, like you mentioned. Derrick Henry's still running through people. Ayuk could win that matchup, especially
Ayuk is a wide receiver
what?
one this year.
That's what.
Beast, especially with Nick Mullins throwing the ball. Who knows what's going to happen with those receivers?
Yeah.
So that could be a. This is definitely an upset potential.
Yes,
I agree.
It's going to happen, but the upset potential is there. Lamar, you never know. He always has some weird games late in the season. He doesn't, he's had the diarrhea issue the last couple of weeks. Who knows?
Yes.
So that's always hanging out there. I think you probably will edge it out, but there's definitely an upset alert going on here.
Yeah, I honestly,
and
I know
Zeke looked good last week too.
Yeah, I know I mentioned his running backs, but honestly, and I even have here in my notes, and I just honestly, I just looked over it. Ayuk is the scariest thing for me on that team. Again, I don't know if Jefferson's going to stay. He's been banged up. I mean, he came back. He left the game early last week. Devonta Smith, it seems like it's either Smith or AJ that's going off for the Eagles. It doesn't seem to be a tandem going on between the two of them. Like I said, I don't feel great about this matchup. I didn't feel great about my team at the end of the year. I squeaked out that 2 seed. I could be looking at an upset for sure. I'm staying confident in my team though. I'm gonna give myself the edge on that. So
I definitely give you the edge. And I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but even Eckler, like the coach is talking, we're gonna look for someone else. I know he played well last week.
Yeah,
they're looking at other guys for touches, and again the Jefferson thing and the Devontae Smith. It could be an AJ Brown game. Who knows?
Yeah. No,
I'm not saying I'm praying for your downfall just because I have your pick, but
yeah. No, I agree with you. The biggest thing for me with Eckler, I mean, they're playing against Las Vegas, so I feel pretty good about that. I know they have, he'll have to deal with Crosby, but they're probably going to be checking down quite a bit. Huge concern though, even if I sneak it through this round, Herbert's out the rest of the year. So what are we going to see from that offense? Justin Herbert's done. So
Yep, that's exactly right. I think Njoku is the most underrated player in this matchup. He's the amount of targets this guy's been seeing, 2 touchdowns last week. This guy, he's projected 9 points. This guy may be getting 20 a week lately. So definitely under projected. Again, I think you guys are right with Jefferson having Mullins throw to him. Who knows about that? Dumont, you brought up the good point about Lamar Jackson. He could sneaky disappear some games.
Diarrhea issue. He's got a diarrhea issue going on. It happens every winter.
But when Diego first literally told me I have Joka right where I want him, I laughed it off. I really did. But then, dude, we broke it down. Joka, I would be shitting bricks if I'm you, dude.
No, I don't feel great about it. I really don't. I looked at the matchup. He's got great matchup with all the skill players too
this week.
Forget Joe Flacco. Like again, if Lamar Jackson has one of those just weird weeks where he just disappears and throws for like 125 and they just contain him the entire time, I'm screwed. Yep. Joe Flacco, however, again, they're playing Chicago. He's not exactly going to get like run through the entire. Well,
Chicago defense has been nasty lately.
They have looked good lately. But are we going to see him do a lot of checkdowns and get some of those first downs with some of those running backs that they have there too? So,
yep. And here's the last thing I'll say about this matchup. This Eagles game Monday night is going to be heart attack city. I know you having Smith and Goddard here to end it on Monday Night Football after a long week of freaking battling back and forth. I wish that on nobody, dude.
I know.
That's just anxiety all day long, too.
Monday Night Football finishes for playoff matchups are legitimately the worst, especially I really think it's going to be I think it could be within 10 points. I would put the over under at 7.5 on this matchup that we have here. I could see us both definitely scoring in the 120s to 130s.
Yeah, I think that's where it's going to be, somewhere in the 120 area. But ultimately, I think you pull it off. You got the guys. If your team has a better day than his, your team wins.
Yep. Again, luckily, I do have a little bit of bench depth, which is good. I made sure I traded for some of that. I mean, Foreman, he's looked pretty good this year. So even if ETN is out, or if anybody ends up out, anybody ends up with an injury bug through practices or anything, I feel okay about it.
There we go. All right, let's get into some predictions. I think you guys are going to say yourself, as you should, but someone other than yourself, I need to know who's taking it.
So I can just, I said it at the top. I'll say it now. I said it at the beginning of the year. I think Matt Dispenza takes the championship this year. His team's getting hot when it's supposed to. It's the most consistent. He's got a young team. He's not really battling any injuries. If I had to pick a team, if I'm a betting man, I'm going with Matt Daddy 28 as our inaugural champion.
All right. All right, Dumont.
I have to agree. Getting hot at the right time. That's my pick.
Wow.
I know. It's taking the chalk, but I agree. He's getting hot at the right time. Debo looks great. Cooper Kupp looks like himself again. That's a hot team. Bijan, I think they saved him for late in the season like this. They're gonna start giving him more and more touches. And I'm a big Dak guy. We'll be the MVP of the NFL. So I do think Matty Daddy takes it as well.
All right. We're gonna be very close to sweeping it. I have Dylan taking it all this year.
Oh, so this is a championship.
The winner of this matchup, I'm gonna go on record, guarantee to win it all this year.
I like
The
that.
winner
I like
of this
that.
matchup. This matchup is gonna be that good, boys. Like we all saw it. I know it's a 10-point misprojection right now, but who cares about that once the game starts? Both these teams just have so much firepower. They really do. And the winner of this matchup literally is going to win it all for me.
I do want to say that side of the bracket. Sorry, Dumont. There are 3 juggernauts on that side. Dumont,
Yes.
if you sneak it out, that's it. There's still raise your fingers with 4. Listen, hey, I love the confidence. I'm looking at that side of the bracket, and again, it's not dissing anyone else's team. I just think those are the 3 best teams remaining overall that are there right now.
You got Ricky, you got Matt, you got Dylan. Like that side of the bracket is death row for sure coming out of that side. I'm sorry, boys, but Joka, the winner of Chu and Jordan is gonna face you. You got to get by Diego, of course.
Yeah.
But how would you feel going up against Vince or Jordan? Who would you like to play?
Yeah, I mean, again, these are the 2 most inconsistent teams that we've seen. We've seen them dropping down into the 80s. I mean, Jordan dropped a 50-point week a few weeks ago. I mean, if I have to base it off of that, I'm probably going to go Jordan again because, let me pull up. I've got some of these stats here. Jordan just specifically in this range of the last 5 weeks, we've seen a score in the 50s. We've seen 140s, 80s, 90s, and then not breaking like the 110 mark, just sitting there in the 100s. My team's been scoring pretty consistently over that. So if I did have to pick one that I had to go against, if I can somehow sneak by Diego, I'm going to go that I would love to play against Jordan. Vinny's team kind of scares me. Vinny's team, if that gets hot, I mean,
no.
Nah, I'll agree with Dumont here.
No, I don't. I really don't. I don't know.
Worst team in the playoffs. Worst team in the playoffs.
Dumont, who are you more scared of, Vinny or Jordan?
Neither. Bums.
Again, they're just streaky. They've been so streaky. I feel like Jordan's skill players, again, and it's not taking anything away from them. I just feel like they're so up and down, but can they actually put together like a cohesive performance? Montgomery's dependent on the touchdowns. Is he going to be able to get a touchdown? Is he going to continue on that scoring streak, or are we going to see Gibbs take some more of that down at the end of the year?
Nope. So it's so much fun this time of year, boys.
Why are we talking about the trophy?
The trophy. All right.
Trophy.
So let's talk a little trophy here as we're wrapping it up.
Gonna put it right here, Hugo.
Look at that. So, boys, it's literally I went to a trophy shop. I'm like, hey, this league deserves something custom. Like, we're gonna drop like over $100 on it. So let's make it something that's going to last. I cared about the base. We'll start there. The base needs to be able to fit like a couple plaques around. So that we don't have to keep adding to it or anything like that. So the base is going to be important. The lady that I talked to, the very front face of it, it's going to say King of Fantasy. Just that's the bold letters. And in the background behind the lettering, she could like etch in a design. And I figured that would be like a nice 3-prong crown around the back. That way, along the face of the crown, it says King of Fantasy. So, then we talk about the center medallion in the middle. Like, literally looking at my hat, it's got to be something like that. That's why I wasn't like, a crown is the obvious choice. It really is. But because of that engravement in the base, there's already going to be a crown there. That's why I didn't want it to be a crown medallion. What's that?
You can do like a football or something there?
We don't necessarily like we could do a football but again, I'm looking for ideas because she said she could clip art anything, like whatever I show her, she could put in the middle. And have it be an outline.
So my mindset when you were just saying that, if there's already many crowns like in the background at the base, I think that's smart because you're crowning the kings down there where their names are going to be at least, or it's at least somewhat.
Yeah.
If in the medallion there's like a football, I mean, I think that would make total sense. It says Kings of Fantasy, but doesn't necessarily specify for like what fantasy. You know what I mean?
Yep. So there we go. That's pretty good too. So that's why I think a football does make more sense. Is there a cool design of do we just want what kind of football, what view of it? A quarterback throwing it, like there's ideas. And because the medallion part was pretty big, dude, it was literally like just within a fist, like close your fist and it's pretty good size. So there's ideas that we could spitball. It's going to be a little heavy, so it's going to have some weight to it, which I like because you can't just toss it around and it's not going to hopefully get dinged up, 13 inches was how tall it was. And hopefully you guys are the same mindset. You got to be able to drink out of it.
Yeah.
Have to
be able to drink out of it. So
yeah, for sure.
It was deep enough to hold at least for sure one. It looked like 2 beers worth in there. So it's definitely going to be a party. I'm going to be so jealous once it's presented to the champion. What I will say, the champion isn't going to see it as soon as they win it. Once the final matchup goes by, then I'm going to then go get the trophy. And I've been told it's like 2 to 3 weeks. I will be hand delivering the trophy. Maybe we can record it, have a Zoom, maybe. Hey, Tuesday night award ceremony, where we present the trophy to the winner and everyone joins in on the Zoom.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think that's great. They have to drink out of the trophy. We drink on Zoom.
That's it. So they, oh my God, this league in general, guys, thank you for being a part of it. Cause this league's going to stick around for a little while. We're all committed to it. And this is just year 1, boys.
Yeah, I mean, the party hasn't even started yet. I know we were talking about the general chat recently, how fun the offseason is. Obviously, I mean, Hugo, not to point out the obvious, you're not having fun at, that much fun at this time of the year. You're watching from the
can't wait for this season to be
You're
over,
watching from the outside. I'm interested to see what all of the non-playoff teams do once we finish up.
That's when I get to work, Brian.
So,
it's when I get to work.
Hey, I mean, listen, it's not abnormal for me to start sending trade requests in March and April. So be ready, guys.
Hugo, before we leave, pull up Sleeper one more time. I want to look at something.
All right. What are you thinking here, guy? Let me share the screen.
We got a few minutes, but I just want to pull something up real quick.
What do you got?
Go. You scroll out of there. Go scroll down all the way to the bottom. All the way to the bottom. Keep going.
A little more?
A little more.
All right.
A little more. All right, right there. See that? Zoom in right there. Number 12. See that right there? What's that emoji right there? What is that?
That is Mr. AK Anthony.
What's that emoji all the way to the right?
Let's see. I don't think it'll let me pull it up. It's not going to.
It's a shit emoji. That's what I think about your team, AK. It's shit.
Oh, God.
I love it. This is going to be a nice new rivalry. Dumont and AK going into the offseason. All right. We're going to see. This is so awesome. The rivalries we're creating, boys. It's awesome. IB, better luck next year. We said we weren't going to talk about the end, but the first 6 draft picks have been established. Stick number 1. Dude, now you guys know how bad you have to be to get the number 1 pick.
You were right there. We should anybody who misses the playoffs, we should do relegation. You miss the playoffs, out of the chat, fucking Squid Game style. You can't talk until the season's over. Get these bums out of there. That's what we need.
So, Stick, then me, then it's gonna be AK, then IB. Because of the max PF, Coolest is gonna take the spot ahead of Marty. So we got our first victim to max PF. Sorry, Marty, you finished 5th worst to last, but you get the 6th pick. So
anybody who didn't hit 1,000 points for, you should be embarrassing yourself. Embarrassing.
So we'll see what happens here. Boys, thanks again for the playoff preview. I appreciate you guys jumping on.
If I can say one more thing, Hugo.
Absolutely, Brian.
Dumont, I hope you pull off the greatest 2 upsets in those first 2 rounds, because trust me, I would love to play your cupcake team there in the finals. I got to be honest with you.
I would love to play Diego, and I'm looking forward to playing him. It's gonna be a great match.
I love that.
It was
Dumont
fun. It was
versus
fun.
Diego?
Thanks for inviting me, Hugo. I appreciate it.
Anytime. Dumont versus Diego in the final. That would blow everybody's mind, and no one would know anything about fantasy football.
No.
Nobody does.
Nobody does. All right, boys. This has been a great time. Again, I appreciate it. Thanks for chatting it up, and I think the rest of the league's gonna enjoy this one.
Yeah, I think it was a good one.
All right, later, guys. That
Later,
was
boys.
King's Court.
Peace.